All right. Good afternoon. The EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting is coming up this November, the 1st through 3rd, in fact, at the beginning of November in Austin, Texas. And if you haven't heard about it before, the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting is the business conference for entrepreneur architects. In fact, it's the first ever live conference that's dedicated just to small firm entrepreneur architects. And I know November sounds like a long ways away. And before we went live here, Kenya and Matt and I were talking about summer and vacations and all of those things and how hot it's been. It feels like November is a long ways away, but it's really not that far. The conference is going to be here before you know it. So I've started this new live stream series to introduce you to all of the fantastic speakers and presenters that will be at the conference. And then they'll all be back in a month or so to give us a little teaser about what they'll be doing at the conference. So good afternoon, I guess, depending on where you are in the world. This afternoon here in the Eastern time zone. My name is Jeff Eccles. I'm the Director of Brand Strategy for EntreArchitect, which is the largest worldwide community of small firm architects. I'm also the host of Context and Clarity Live. And to continue our Meet the Speaker series today, I'm joined by two people that I'm really excited to have coming to the annual meeting because I know that they're going to infuse some fun into the conference. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you more about it. So let me just ask, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, Jeff. I'm Kenia. I am co-founder with Matt of Stix Brix. Stix Brix is our architecture brand for kids. So what that means is we create and design products specifically to introduce kids to architecture from a very young age. And we do this through the art of model building. But our models, like the models that many people know about, traditional architectural models, we design them for kids to be able to build them and decorate them and paint them even. So they have a bit of a splash of color, so it makes them a little bit more youthful. So Stix Brix is our brand that we have been working on for about 2.5 years, and we continue to grow. My role in Stix Brix is I do a lot of things, everything from researching for the products, doing research for products, new products that we're developing, as well as designing all the new products. I also work on testing things out with other kids or our own kids sometimes. Also producing the models, actually assembling everything, creating live events in the community to build in person with kids. And gosh, I think that's about all.
That's a lot.
I feel like it's a lot though. Yeah, so that is my role in Stix Brix. And we have been producing models such as skyscrapers and A-frame models for kids. A lot of models have been for ages 7+. And recently we've started to create models even for the youngest builders for 4+. So it's something new that we're trying out. So that's me.
Yeah. And I'm Matt, and I am definitely playing a supporting role in the company, helping develop and create and take these ideas that we are formulating, researching, and we are turning them from that like 2D hand-drawn concept images into actual built models. So we do a lot of testing. We do a lot of trial and error with our products. Quite often we'll cut 5 or 6 or 7 different iterations of a design until we get to the one that's the final one. So we spend a lot of time with the laser cutter there, working through this to get these products working just right so that they're the right aesthetic that we're looking for, as well as easy for the kids to work with, and so that they have a positive experience. We want for the kids to have a positive experience in the building process so that they want to do more. They build a passion and grow a passion for architecture. So we're our team here, and it's a lot of fun. We have a great time doing what we do, and like Kenya mentioned, when we have these live events is when we really start to see the product in action and see the kids creating. And there's are some really awesome creations that we've seen as a result of what these kids' minds have in them. And usually they're very far away from our typical, like the prototype, but they're
Which
awesome.
is great, yeah.
Yeah. So
they're usually a lot more fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they're coming from the kid mind. Those of you out there in our audience that are familiar, that are fans of Context and Clarity Live, may have seen Matt on Context and Clarity Live maybe a year ago now, maybe 9 months ago. I lose track of time, but so they've heard some of this, but I think the backstory, why you started Stix and Brix is, yeah, it's obviously timely, right? We've all been through something in the last 2.5 years. Where did this all begin? Why did you start Stix and Brix, or what led up to Stix and Brix maybe is a more accurate question. What was the inspiration for all of this?
Right. So we found ourselves, like you said, about 2.5 years ago, I guess now, with a summer to fill with our kids. We had signed them up for summer camps, and summer camps started to close back in 2020. And we found ourselves with 3 kids at home and not much to do with them. Our kids are, like many kids, builders by nature. And they love to make things and create things. And I knew I could not fill a whole summer, or we couldn't fill a whole summer with just sports, right? The living room sports, as fun as they are. So we kind of started looking for a product, something that they could do that felt like a camp for them, like a project they could work on for like a whole week. We could not find something that was appropriate for their age or something that was interesting enough for them. And a little light bulb went off, and we said, what if we built an architecture model for them to build on their own? And we got really excited about it. And I think that night we ordered wood because we didn't, have wood on hand. Ordered some wood, probably some X-Acto knives if we didn't have any, and started designing something and cutting up some wood for them to build these models. And we started with a very, very basic model, and they really enjoyed it. And we thought, gosh, this is so fun to introduce them to architecture and have them build a model like we used to, and we thought from there, we started to, our mind grew in, and we said, what if other kids would be interested in this as well? What if it's something that we could produce for other families? And we actually started off with a different name. Before Stix and Brix, we were 5 Archi Camp, based on our 5 architecture firm. Because we thought of it as a camp, something that kids could do over a week's worth of time. There was enough work for them to do each day. So it kind of started off as a camp idea, and since then has grown and evolved into Stix and Brix, a model that kids can work on at home on their own. Because the first models were led by video instruction, and now we have evolved into illustrated instructions to kind of take away that need to have, first of all, us on camera all the time, but also, kids can build it on their own time. So that's kind of how it evolved and it started.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so I think the best ideas, right? They evolve out of necessity, right? Hey, we've got this. We actually do this in my master's level pro practice class. It's my first question for the students is, what's one problem that you see? Probably in the built environment, but not necessarily. But what's one problem that you see that obviously needs to be solved, and you have an idea to solve it? And that's where we start this business plan thing that we do throughout the class. And what you're talking about fits perfectly into that. It's, hey, COVID, everything shut down. The kids need something to do. What are we going to do? Right? We've got a problem to solve. And I love the idea of introducing the youngest, right? The youngest people in our society to architecture. I think that's probably going to have a big ripple effect as they get older and go out and do whatever it is that they're going to do. Um, you said you do live events now. What do those look like? You've got the models. I can order a model. I can order an ice cream truck, although I think maybe that's going to be um, phased out soon. That's my favorite one, the ice cream truck. I can order that model, but what about a live event? How do I do that? What happens in the live events?
So obviously we're limited to our local kind of geography. We've been doing them kind of throughout our Tri-County area in South Florida. We've been partnering with different organizations, whether it be a store or ice cream shop or whatever the case may be, to host us. And by way of marketing, social media, et cetera, we put out that we're going to have a live model building event. We bring all of the models and the materials needed to the event and sit everyone down, and they have everything that they would have that they would buy and have shipped to their home is there. But the bonus is that they get us. So now we're there and they get each other. Yeah, for sure. They get that like camaraderie, right? Think about studio.
Yes.
It's almost like a little kids architecture studio.
That's awesome.
No, it's very, very cute. It's very sweet. The kids really start to talk about like, oh, what are you going to do with yours? And what do you have going on over there? It's really interesting to watch them talk about their projects together. And we're there to assist and, kind of help the parents say, the parents don't have to be involved as much and we take over. But it's really interesting to see the kids work together and start to share ideas amongst themselves.
Yeah. And so it's and just build, and over the course of an hour or so, they build their models together. And then at the end of the day, we have 10 or 15 cool new models that are all different, but all the same, right? The same design, the same structure, but all color painted, all the other extras that are part of the models are different, which goes to show you how many different ways you can do the same thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's very cool. So, in terms of the big idea, what do you want, other than a completed model, obviously, what do you want the big takeaway to be for these kids that whether it's the live event or their parents order one online? What do you want the big takeaway to be?
I think two things. When we were young, there really wasn't anything for, other than drawing our own plans. We couldn't build models, that wasn't available. I think there's a lot of kids out there that are like many of us who really enjoy architecture from a young age. So we'd like to be able to give those kids, just like kids can, go all in on baseball or football or art classes, dance classes. There's kids that have such an interest in architecture. We want to give them something, special that they can work on. And then for the other kids who maybe that's not their main passion, at least the introduction to architecture. And who knows, maybe we'll always say, maybe you'll fall in love with architecture as well.
Yeah. I love that. And if nothing else, maybe an appreciation of the world around them.
Sure.
I'm just kind of guessing there, but I love all of that. Now you're going to be back on October 21st for a preview of what you'll be doing at the conference. So I don't want to give too much away at this point, but maybe in a few sentences or a minute or two, what's going to happen in Austin, having Stix and Brix at the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting?
Gosh, how do we preview?
or you could just give it all away. I don't know, and we'll just do it again in October.
I think our goal, while everyone that's attending the conference is there to better their business, to do what they do and do it in a better way, to fulfill something that they're going for, whether it be financial, whether it be artistic, whether it be whatever it is, right? We're all there for one reason. Sometimes that gets hard. That's tough. There's a lot of decisions to make. There's like real things that are happening. So I think at the end of the day, if in the hour's time when everyone gets a break, that they can just come have fun with us and do what we all did. Every single person there that went to architecture school cut wood, cut their fingers, use their X-Acto knife, glued, stuck stuff together. Like if we can like rewind everyone back to that before they knew what they were getting into, I think that it would be a successful event and a successful time for us all just to let go and kind of forget about everything else for a minute. There will be no professors ripping your models apart. There will be nobody there to tell you what you've done is wrong. But at the end of the day, I think if everybody can have fun, that's why we're here. That's why we're coming. That's why we want to be there.
That's awesome. You're talking about cutting wood and cutting fingers. So thinking back to ARC, no, we're not going to be cutting fingers in Austin, right? We have better X-Acto knife skills today than we once did. But thinking, this is completely inappropriate for this conversation or for this interview, I'm sure. But thinking back to architecture school, how many of your classmates ended up at the ER with cut fingers?
I did. I definitely did.
Yeah, I distinctly remember one of my classmates, but I'm sure it was more. You said that, Matt, and it's like that's one of the rites of passage.
Those skills, those definitely have to be earned, but nobody will have to cut, so we'll be good.
There you go. The laser cutter will take care of it before everybody gets there.
It'll be a good experience to kind of test out what our products feel like too. So
yeah. Well, I think I think that's amazing. I think it will be a lot of fun and take us all back to, for some of us, it was a long time ago that we were in architecture school and remember the sights and smells and sounds of studio. So that's very cool. That's awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to the two of you being there and everybody else. So there you have it. Kenia and Matt Forget. They're the husband and wife team behind 5 Architecture and Stix Brix at the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting in Austin, Texas, November 1st through 3rd. They'll guide us through the discovery process that they use to broaden the reach of architecture for everyone, which I think is an awesome idea. If you own a small firm, or you aspire to own a small firm, or maybe even if you work for a small firm, go over to EntreArchitect.com/annual meeting. That's 2 words. Smash them together like it's one. EntreArchitect.com/annual meeting for more information about the conference. You see the venue, see all the speakers, learn about Kenia and Matt over there, EntreArchitect.com/annual meeting. Again, it's the first ever live conference that's dedicated just to small entrepreneur architects, small firm entrepreneur architects. So check it out. I promise. If this doesn't sound fun, if this doesn't sound inspiring to you, I don't know what else I can do for you, but I promise you will not be disappointed. Join us in Austin, Texas. Kenia and Matt, thanks a lot for joining me for this conversation. It's been fun, and I've been looking forward for a long time to putting together a Stix Brix model. So I'm really looking forward to this in 2 months from now, something like that. Yeah, it'll be great. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
All right, and everybody out there, whether you're live or watching on the replay, thanks again. EntreArchitect.com/annual meeting, and you can find out about all of the speakers. Or maybe an easy thing to do as well would be to go to the EntreArchitect YouTube channel, and the recordings of all of these Meet the Speaker interviews are there, so you can learn about all the speakers before we go in November. So thanks everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see.